because just out today, some field work actually done in the last couple of days, so on the 14th and 15th of February, a poll from Techne UK. And let me read the numbers that they've discovered in terms of the national support. Labour has gone down to, in their latest survey, to 42, Conservatives 23, falling 1, Lib Dems at 11% up 1, Reform 11% plus 1, and the Greens also up 1 by 7%. The SNP and others leave on 3%. So let's just talk to Chief Executive Officer at Techne UK. New polling company for me, Michela Morizzo, but thank you very much indeed for joining us. You started off, I think, with your methodology and the science that you deploy in Italy, and now you're coming here to the UK. So your field work was done before that election result we're reporting overnight. It still points to a considerable amount of support and a possibility of a Labour government, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly. First of all, thank you for inviting me to join your program, Martin. And we are, in the UK on the UK market since 2020, but we're not new in the polling market because we have 3 decades experience, not only in Italy, but also abroad. And these are really tricky times for UK politics. We finished our interviews on Thursday morning. So just before the by-election took place. And I was not surprised really about the results of the by-elections. And I think that there is some kind of link with the general voting intention we have highlighted, because as you were correctly summarizing, we have 2 points down for Labour and 1 point down for Conservatives. But what's the news of these by-elections is that Reform UK reached a very important result, 10 and 13%. And of course, we are talking about by-elections, so small areas within the countries, within the country. But this result should not be underestimated, because in recent months, we have noticed how a fifth of the Conservative voters of 2019 are now moving towards Reform UK, while previously this percentage was much lower. I mean, 1 to 8, 1 to 10. So really a much lower percentage. And this is a very important signal to be considered also from the Conservative Party looking towards the general elections. But during the last couple of days, all the media have been talking also about a recession, about UK going into a recession. And we have to keep in mind that everything leading up to the recession happened months before. Didn't happen yesterday or last week, but months before. Therefore, here are the difficulties for the Conservatives, because people are struggling with the cost of living, with inflation rates. In particular, we are talking about low-income workers, the most fragile areas of the society. So today, what we can see and we can infer also from the by-election indications is that this is an economic vote. It's not an ideological vote, but it's more an economic vote. So what does it mean? That too many aspects have to change in order to change, sorry for the double change, the expected scenario towards the next general election.
Yeah, I mean, just to jump in here, your numbers, I mean, it is an opinion poll, of course, and we always have to put the caveat, don't we, that come an actual election, opinions can flop around a little bit. Those undecideds in the middle make up their mind and go one way or the other. But just using your numbers on the electoral calculator's predictor, which again, you know, is an inexact science, it points to a Labour net change of 251 extra MPs, extra 31 Lib Dems and 254 losses for the Tories, down to 122. I mean, even given your polling, presumably if it is November, by November, things will look a little different. Would you agree?
Yes. Things may look a bit different, but there is an important aspect, I think, to be underlined that at the moment the advantage of Labour and Lib Dems, who are also growing, but talking about Labour at the moment, is due more by the opponent's own goals rather than by a real and strong vision program. I think a program delivered to all the UK potential electors or voters.
I understand. Well, there's a long way.
Like when it's like a cycle.
Yes.
When you're up, you can stand still and just wait to see what will happen. We have seen so many times in so many countries this happen. But of course, people wait the moment where also Labour, Lib Dem, and of course, Reform UK, because it's a tricky situation for them because they are on the right wing and they have to, to manage their situation. But people want to know what will our future look like in the next 12 months.
Yes. Michela, thank you. Just so we know, your methodology, do you have a panel?
Yes.
Is it an internet-based thing? Do you talk people face-to-face?
Yes, we don't use panel for voting intention and political polling. We prefer to use a random sampling. What does it mean? Just briefly summarizing our methodology, it's you have to think about the United Kingdom and all the potential voters having the same opportunity to be picked up and asked for responses. So from the scientific point of view, we absolutely prefer this methodology because panels sometimes are used to responding to polls and whatsoever, but we have to see what the real people think. And so everybody can be selected to respond. And of course, he may say, no, I don't want to proceed with the interview, or perhaps, yes, in order to have 1,000 sample more or less, we have to proceed with 4,000 attempts, both on telephone and web interviews.
Thank you very much indeed for being our guest today. Good to talk to you.
Thank you, Martin.
Michela Morizzo, who's the Chief Executive Officer at Techne UK, one of the newer polling organisations.